Imagine a spiritual pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It's the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence show with Dr. Brie Gibbs, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside of Goddess Bell, the creator, and other masters, will share information never before released on the planet to help guide and evolve humanity, and along the way, heal the four dimensions of body, emotions, mind, and spirituality. This show is about true spirituality, offering a new earth narrative and effective path to well-being as it accelerates the journey of our spiritual evolution to keep pace in this rapidly changing world. Get ready to emerge the goddess within each of us, both the feminine and the masculine. If you have any questions about yourself that you have no answers to, this is the show for you. Let's emerge together and emerge better. Now, here is your host, Dr. Brie Gibbs.
Everyone, this is Dr. Brie Gibbs. I am so excited about this show today with Dr. Pat. We're going to talk about the spiritual blueprint and how we actually heal from it and where it's at and how it's connected from the pineal gland into the cellular memory and down into the heart and soul. And I will explain how the heart and soul is integrated together also. How are you, Dr. Pat?
I'm really good. I'm really excited to talk about healing, with the spiritual blueprint and what that is. Because I think for many of us that, we've taken a journey. I was just talking about this a few minutes ago. We take a journey, and the one thing that is a common denominator between all of the things that I've done to overcome obstacles and challenges, the one thing is the spiritual blueprint.
Right.
Without it, you stay stuck in a lot of cases, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you're talking about this today. So let's get into it. What is the spiritual blueprint from where you sit?
So actually, the spiritual blueprint is in your pineal gland. And that is given to us before we even come into forming a body. It's part of our soul. It's part of everything we are. So what I want to say is it sits right here in the pineal gland. That it comes into consciousness. And once it's in the consciousness, you're able to bring it down into the soul where your life path is. Everything is encoded. So everything comes in a special code. Then it integrates with the heart. So while you're healing all of that together at one time. So with spiritual blueprint, you're able to go back and look at things in your cellular memory to say, okay, I've had this hard day. What is going on? What problems are you having today? When I went on my healing journey, this is what I was taught. And by the creator, by my guides, and this new information I'm bringing forward today. So here we go. Let's just use an example of childhood trauma. And I had childhood trauma. A lot of us had. I forgot about some. So I thought, how did I forget? And it came in a dream, actually. And so I went up into the cellular memory, because it's all connected. I started looking at it, and I went, oh, it did happen to me. Why did I forget? Because our consciousness, the cellular memory, can say, oh, no, you don't want to look at this anymore. You don't want to remember. Well, I want to remember because I want to heal. So you look at that all, it's just, you kind of pick it apart and look at it and go, okay, it happened when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And you look at that year, and then you bring that memory down through the filters, down into the soul. You look at all of that, and then you go into the heart. Because you want to use filters that filter everything through so you don't hurt any part of your body whatsoever, especially your heart. So when I did that, I found how encoded my soul was, which I didn't even realize. And when I saw the codes, I went, okay, some of those codes need to go. They're old codes. So let's bring in new codes to heal. And that happens also. So as we go further down the cellular memory, it's a pathway to help you heal everything in the blueprint. And why is the blueprint so necessary? If we didn't have that blueprint, we'd go off our spiritual path. And I got off my spiritual path during my healing time. But we can go off it any time and bring ourselves back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. because it's a roadmap. See,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about. You know, we can talk about spirituality and we can talk about it in many, many different ways. But I love the idea of talking about a spiritual blueprint because what does that tell you when you say a blueprint? Okay, yeah. Can you build a house without a blueprint? Well, yes and no. Um, can you build a strong house that's going to accommodate all your needs without a blueprint? Most likely not.
No.
And, even if you sketch on a piece of paper, this is my house, this is where the door goes, that's a blueprint. And what does that do? It becomes a roadmap, it becomes a guidance system for how to get us back to that place of equilibrium and harmony. Because without rectifying or healing or connecting all of those things in our lives, which tend to either stall the blueprint or delay parts of your blueprint or delay things in your life, make your life more difficult, you're not going to get to the place that you're meant to go, right?
Right. And everyone gets off the blueprint once in a while.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's it's just not me. It's not just you. It can be anybody. I was amazed when one of my guys told me I've fallen off mine. And how'd you get back on it? Well, you're learning it now. So here's the thing: is never feel that you failed by coming off your blueprint. Always know that you can bring yourself
That's a
back.
good tip.
Never fail.
Yeah.
You know, if you take that as you failed, you're gonna just bring yourself down. So just go, oh well, brush yourself off and let's get back on it. So here's the thing I want to talk about the spiritual blueprint. I want to get into this for a minute. Like I said, connected pineal gland, cell memory, it's all integrated together. Many people are unfamiliar about this information, and that's the primary purpose I have the show today. The other thing is, let's talk about the coding. When we first come into this body, the cell, the sperm and the egg meet together. The spirit body comes in first. Why would you think that? The cell, because that's where your encoding comes from. Then the second part, the emotional part of the body that carries all the emotions that you're going to have in this lifetime, all the things you agreed to experience. And you're going to say, wait a minute, I didn't want to experience how to drink alcohol. I didn't want to experience I'm going to be married to this man or that man. Yes, you did. Yes, we all agreed to all these things. And everyone knows that anyway, but I want to put some examples in there. And then after that, the mental body comes in, and then the physical body. So we got, oh, I'm sorry, I had that a little backwards, so I got to say it. Mental body, physical body, all that together. So as we come into form, all of it integrates together, and you sit there and you listen to what's going on in your head, and you have to be really quiet with this one. So if you fall off the spiritual blueprint, all you have to do is breathe in a quiet place, sit back, look at why you fell off and how you want to get back on. And with my way of getting back on was slow down, take your time, don't be in a hurry, and find out why and heal it. And that's by using your spiritual blueprint. That blueprint was put there for a reason, to live our lives in harmony, to live our lives with others. And what I want to say on that, that's a big step, a very big step. When you fall off and you come back, you're able to put yourself back on it. Am I explaining that clear enough?
Well, I think we need to talk about why that's even important to do, right? Because, this is part of marching on the journey of the healing process.
Right.
And, to use the spiritual blueprint, we have to take a look at the healing process. And part of that is to look at what is the challenge in front of me? What is this thing that's stopping me from my joy, my peace, my satisfaction? Why am I sitting in frustration? So when you look at the scale of emotions, let's say you decided to use the Hawkins scale, which comes out and it gives you different frequencies for where you can be. And you'll see some of those frequencies range from depressed all the way up to joy and bliss or whatever you want to say. But the question is, what is our natural state? Our natural state is joy. So
Correct.
that's a natural state. When we are in a point of distress, let's take a baby. Baby is like happy until the baby is not happy. So a baby is like happy and just smiling and gurgling until what? Something happens where the baby doesn't have control. I'm hungry.
Hmm.
I'm hungry.
Right.
And so when a baby's hungry, what does a baby do? Generally speaking, they cry.
Yes.
Well, maybe the baby is not comfortable. What do they do? Cry. Well,
Hmm.
maybe you putting a baby in this crib and they don't like the crib you're putting them in, but you think you got the baby the best crib in the world. But what happens? They're crying. And so, what do you have to do with that? Well, you have to adjust. And a spiritual blueprint is the same way.
Right.
Why? Because the natural nature for this baby is joy and peace. So we struggle, even with the infancy of someone, to try to bring them to a place of peace. But when it comes to ourselves and our spiritual blueprint, a light bulb doesn't go on and say, wait a minute, I'm that baby. I have the right to be in that place of joy. And if I'm crying on the inside of my life, then I need to understand how to heal through the spiritual blueprint.
Right. And that's what I want to get to right now.
Good.
So, one thing, slow down. Everybody just slow down. When you are unhappy or you're depressed, you need to find out why. And that's when you go to the spiritual blueprint with the emotional body and you look at it and you figure out, why is this affecting me so badly? Why am I not feeling good? Because a lot of times you fall off your spiritual blueprint. And so you go back and look at it and you say, okay, I'm going to fix this now. I always call my guys in the creator and everybody in with me when I do this, because it's serious work. It's not something that you can just read and code yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So some codes have to be replaced also. If you damage the code enough by staying depressed for, let's say, 6 years or even a year or 6 months, that code is replaced to make you happy again.
Mm-hmm.
Accept who you are and know that you are worthy to follow that blueprint. That's a lot of things that people don't realize, that you're worthy to follow that blueprint. You agreed to come here, be here on this planet to do the work you're doing, no matter who you are. So as you look through it and you heal and you go, okay, I got this one problem fixed at childhood. That wasn't my fault. I was a little girl. Use that for example. Well, why am I holding on to something that was out of my control? Well, you go into the spiritual blueprint, you look at, oh, I agreed to experience that, but that's over now. So now I want it to be re-encoded and have a life of joy that will come into the redone in the pineal gland, cellular memory, into your soul gets recorded. The soul's right, sits right here. It is encoded, then goes into the heart. And you're able to release finally that one memory that held you back all these years from, let's say, somebody tells you you talk too much. A lot of people get told that, at least I do. And it's like, okay, that memory's gone now. I don't have to look at it no more. I can put it away finally. But other major healing things, such as someone that's had a heart attack, why did that happen to them? It's not always medical. It's an emotional part of something that happened to you. So you go back again and look at the blueprint and see, that's what happened. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he had that heart attack. It's simple to fix. Doctors don't, I want to say medical doctors don't see the spiritual part of us. A lot of
Well,
them
not all of them. I
don't. No,
mean,
right. So,
there are some,
yes,
but that has always been a challenge for science and spirituality. It's one of those things that when you take a look at, for example, Dr. Sharon Martin,
right,
and what she does in maximum medicine, she is a medical doctor. She puts her deal on every day, but that's not what makes her a great doctor. What makes her a great doctor is exactly what you're talking about now,
right, right,
is to understand that while she is highly skilled and goes into what doctor office and is a doctor every day, she also brings in all of these other things you're talking about,
right.
that make up that spiritual blueprint.
And
Because
that's an
yeah, so
amazing
talk
doctor
about
right
that.
there. Yeah, that's
Right.
amazing doctors, because a lot of them don't want to admit to it. I know some doctors that say, I can't tell my patients I believe in this. I just do it. You know,
Well, yeah,
there's
because
a
a lot
code
of
they
them,
have to follow.
they have to follow a code. As a matter of fact, people ask me why I didn't study clinical psychology when I graduated. And the answer was simple. Well, I came to the state of Washington. I didn't realize what the restrictions were back then.
Hmm.
And when I found that I could not talk about spirituality as a PhD clinical psychologist,
Hmm.
I didn't want to go down that path anymore
Good
because
for
it had
you.
been too much of my, well, I didn't know how, Brie. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Right.
If we could establish that spiritual blueprint that connects the soul,
Hmm.
we will be guided
Right.
to help us make the decisions in our lives, right? So,
Right.
how do we use this spiritual blueprint?
So, first of all, like I said, slow down and look at it. It's inside of you. Whether you want to look into this consciousness, whether you want to look in your heart, it's there. It's all connected. So as you look at that and use it, take one step at a time. The first step is believe in yourself. Second step, make sure you're working with your guides. Third step, know that you're working with your own truth of who you are, and not be ashamed of what you are or who you are. Know that you can fix it yourself. There are so many things you can do on your own. So let's just say, um, in the beginning when I started the show, I was a little nervous coming back. Okay, I was going, what is making me so nervous and tripping over my words and not saying what I want to say, right? And not following my notes. What's going on? Oh, it was fear. Fear will knock you off your blueprint in a moment. So why should I be afraid of something? As a licensed broadcaster, what I've done was gone for 5 years. Why am I afraid? Because
Hmm.
I'm bringing out new information that has not been heard. I thought, oh, can I do this? That little bit of fear can cause you to be knocked off. So I threw myself back into my healing the other day and went through every part of me and saw that one little bit of fear, and I took it out. So as you heal from that part, it is amazing what fear will do to you.
Mm.
And so if there's a health issue, it's usually from an emotional problem of fear. And you want to go back into spiritual blueprint, follow it, get back on it, say, okay. It's kind of like riding a bike. You fall off a bike, you get back on it. Real simple. It's actually simpler than anybody thinks it is.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it's simple, but it's complicated. And so let's just talk about simplicity. See,
mhm,
I love the word simplicity because I'll
mhm.
tell you what simple doesn't imply. Simple doesn't always imply easy.
No,
So I
you're
want
right.
to be very clear about that because if we are talking about a spiritual blueprint and then we're talking about healing, right? So we're talking about a couple things here today, spiritual blueprint and healing. The very fact that we're talking about healing in the context of the spiritual blueprint really talks to the fact that while this is simple, it's not always easy.
No,
You go through a life of conditioning. But if we hold on to the fact that underneath it all, that each of us has a divine, unique spiritual blueprint, that's something we can always go back to.
right. So with mine, some things had to be replaced. I didn't like it. I was like, no, you're not taking this from me. Yes, I am. We are, because you don't need it no more. That's the other thing the creator will tell you right off in your guides. What are you holding on for? Trust, believe, and don't second guess it anymore. And when you follow that blueprint that you know is inside of you, follow it completely. And if you fall off, get back on. So no matter what I have, and every day is a healing day that we fall off and get back on. That's one thing I want to stress really fast right now. When you fall back off, look at the spiritual blueprint, look at your soul, look at your heart, and know that you can get back on there. And I wish I had more time today to say it. That sometimes this half hour is not enough. I have to admit this. I may do a second show on this on purpose. There's so much to it. But the blueprint has everything we need. Everything inside of us is accessible. And so whether you look at your soul, in your soul life path is your spiritual blueprint also. And the purpose of that is also that you see why you are worthy. They keep telling me say worthy constantly because a lot of people don't think you're worthy enough to fix yourself. You have to go get a pill. You have to go see a doctor. And a lot of times it's just taking a hot bath and say, okay, I'm going to wash this all off of me and start over again. So as healing goes on in your life, like I said, it's an everyday event. I had something that happened earlier today that I had to take care of. And now I got right back on. And here I am sitting here now talking about things. But if I hadn't taken care of that, looked at the spiritual blueprint, why I got involved with this person, I'm going to use it because it was a person. And I've had to let people go out of my lives because they were not part of my spiritual blueprint. Sometimes a lower vibration can sneak into our lives without even realizing it. And then you go, uh-oh, this has been around for me how long? Time to go. And then you're healing from that. You're back on your spiritual blueprint. So that's one thing we have to be very careful about.
Yeah. I mean, but part of this is really taking a look at, the spiritual blueprint is unique for everyone.
Right.
And, it's a revolving door, so to speak, because there may be some things in one person's life that you've already dealt with. It's not part of your blueprint. It's not part of your stuckness. It's not part of, where you're hung up on a lower frequency. Maybe you're frustrated. Simple example. Really, somebody cuts you off and you're having a mental breakdown driving your car because some random person cuts you off. You can't do anything about it, but you go from whatever state you are in, really 120 miles per hour to anger.
Right.
That's a wounding, whether you
Right.
know it or not.
Oh, very much so. My husband has that problem.
My best friend too. But but some of us, that's not a thing for. And then some of us have other things.
Right.
Like, what gets under what burr gets under my saddle is going to be different from yours. What will take me off my game will be different from yours, right?
Right.
Somebody cutting me off doesn't do it for me. I let people in. I don't care about any of that. But yet then I will react to things in the political world, not all of them, but there's one thing in particular right now that every time I hear about it, what happens to me is I say, I've got to take an action. And, people always wonder, well, what is that, Pat, from you? I mean, like, you've been an advocate. And I'm like, okay, you people. I'm like, you people going to be doing a lot of things in the next 4 years, but I'm telling you now, do not touch my Social Security. Do
Right.
not do it. Why? Because that's the thing for me that I believe is part of a spiritual dynamic that helps people create a better life.
Right. And my problem is I want to save everyone and I can't. And that is a problem I've had. So I've been a child.
Yeah, that one will put you 6 feet under that one.
Right.
See,
I'm still working on that one.
Yeah. So if they get rid of Social Security, I'm going to start a nonprofit commune and we can all go over there.
I love that. That's great. We'll just all go to your commune. I love that one.
Oh my God, that's so funny, isn't it?
I wish we had more time to talk about this today. We'll have to set up a no show with this, Dr. Pat, because it's so intense. I just want to get this out today that everyone can work with that spiritual blueprint. And if you need some help, you get a hold of me at drbriegibbs.com, and I'll be more than willing to help anyone on that. I'm also going to write a blog on it, and so people can see exactly how the steps they can take.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Brie. And again, how do people find out more about you?
My website, drbriegibbs.com. I'm on social media, and just Google me. It's a real simple thing to do. And then of course you find me on TTR. So I want everybody to know that the Creator gave you these blueprints for a reason. And if you're not happy, they can be changed. And the Creator will help you change them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Brie, for everything. I want to thank everybody for tuning us in, turning us on. And yeah, I'll be curious to see what part 2 of this looks like.
It's been great. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Goddess Emergence Show with Dr. Brie Gibbs. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to experience spiritual pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It is the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence Show with Dr. Brie, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside the Goddess Bell and the Creator, offer messages from the masters never shared or released on the planet. Beyond the show, Dr. Brie offers individual and group sessions at drbriegibbs.com. That's drbriegibbs.com. We hope to see you next time.